Back in September, we had the privilege of co-hosting a TIFF party with WeAudition and Project Blackbird. We were lucky enough to speak with some wonderful industry players and thoughtful artists, and it meant the world to us to be able to sit down with three beautiful, inside and out, talented and insightful women, Callina Liang, Hallea Jones, and Lux Pascal. We are so excited to share this episode with you, so sit tight and enjoy the ride. We are here at TIFF at the WeAudition party.
Yeah.
We talk about film, or WTAF.
Yes,
I'm Sarah.
I'm Justine.
And today we're sitting with Callina Liang, who has a premiere tomorrow. Callina, how are you feeling?
I am very excited. It always feels sort of surreal. I don't know. It's like it happens. Like I go through this a lot, but it's like every time I'm like, oh my god, it's all new and it's all exciting. So I'm grateful, honored, and just happy to be here.
Yeah.
Ooh, and is this your first time having a film premiere at TIFF?
Yes. This is actually my first time doing TIFF ever.
And you're here with us.
Well, welcome to night one. Let's go.
I'm excited.
Tell us about the film. Tell us about what brought you all the way to this point here today.
Well, the film, so Presence,
Yes.
It's a ghost story, but I don't like that it's kind of described that way. I think it's more so about a family moving into a place, sensing that there's something there, and just figuring it out. It's a very dysfunctional family, and you kind of just, the whole time you kind of feel like you're a fly on the wall, like watching the film. And that's what I love about it. It's very weird in the best way. I mean, Steven Soderbergh, he's a mastermind, right? So it's kind of just let him do his thing, and it's so great. I'm very excited for people to see it. So,
And I'm curious, what did it feel like working with like an early 2000s icon?
man, surreal.
Oh my
surreal.
gosh.
I mean, he is an icon. He works also in a very specific way. Presence was only my second film ever. So I was nervous going into it.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Because you had the, it was about, sorry, I forget the name
Bad
of the film.
Genius.
Yes.
Yes, before.
Yes.
Yeah. So, going into it, I kind of was like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing, but then realized that the director that I worked with on Bad Genius, JC, he's great, and then the director, Steven, they work in very different ways. Steven has his own thing going on. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit intimidated, but I mean, it turned out to be great. He is such a blast to work with. It's so great, kind of like seeing and learning the way he works. Every day felt like a master class on cinematography. You know, it just
I could feel that for sure.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. And the cast too.
I was
They're
gonna
all
say,
so
it's
great.
Lucy Liu who plays your mom, right?
Lucy Liu's my mom.
Oh
When
my
I-
God. Okay.
When I heard it, I was like, who's my mom? Literally on the street, I was like, what? I mean, I've looked up to her like my entire life. So, and she's so lovely, and she's such like a mama bear in real life. So it was really fun working with her. And because Steven, he kind of has a directing style where he really like lets his actors play.
I love that.
And so me, Lucy, Chris, who plays my dad, Eddie, who plays my brother, like we would all just get in every day and just give him like this and then that and then that, and it's like whatever clicks. It just felt like playing every day. And
I
honestly,
love that.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Oh my gosh. Well, major congrats to you.
Thank
That's gotta
you.
feel so incredible. And I missed it. Where did you say you're living now?
I live in Toronto now. I
Right.
literally just moved here a month and a half ago.
Oh,
And
welcome.
then when we heard that the film was premiering at TIFF, I was like, oh great,
Yo.
I'm already here.
My backyard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, around the corner.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. What do you have on your TIFF list this year? What are you looking forward to the most?
Man, everything.
Yes.
I mean, this is my first time doing TIFF. It was my first time ever doing a film festival this year because Presence went to Sundance, so it premiered there earlier this year.
Oh, and you didn't go?
I went.
Oh, you did
Hey.
go?
Yeah,
Okay.
so that was my first ever film festival.
Okay.
And then now this is like my first ever TIFF. So literally everything. I'm
It's a
just so
dream
excited.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, you're
Oh my
hooked
gosh.
now. The door's open. The
Yeah.
floodgates open.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited for you. I feel like
Thank
we're both so
you.
excited for you.
Oh my gosh, yes. We're curious though. Do you have like thinking about now, you said that this is your second feature.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any moments that where everything just came together for you, like this magical on either set, or like where everything just kind of worked out and something really beautiful happened that really changed the way you looked at things, or changed your experience on set?
See, I was prepared for the horror story part.
Okay. Do you want to pivot? Do you want to pivot? Let's hear it. Well, horror story.
I mean, hey, for Presents, every day was magic. I will say that. We shot that thing in 11 days. So it
11
days. So I will say
Soderbergh, he doesn't
play around.
Oh
and I'm saying, like, I was working half days most of the time.
Okay.
Like, I was on set for like 6-7 hours. Like, and then I was going home.
So he had a good team. He knew they all
great
nice.
team. So that whole experience, I would say, was magical to me.
Wow.
Not really a horror story, but I just found this kind of funny. When we were filming Presents, there was a scene where he had to do like a special cut scene, and I was on the bed laying in a very peculiar position, and because he had to do the cut scene, I couldn't move for like an hour and a half or something when they were setting up. They were redoing the scene, multiple times with different setups, and I just had to lay there in this position. In hindsight, it was very comfortable. I was laying down in bed, but after a while, I was like, damn, not moving is really hard. My thoughts just came. At first, I was like chatting with like whoever came into the room, like drinking from a straw. And then like after the 40-minute mark, I was like deeping everything in my life.
So that was with yourself.
Yeah, that was a funny experience. So
forced meditation.
No, literally, I was like, wow, I'm really a monk now.
Oh my God.
I'm prepared.
And did Steven know that you went through this journey?
Yeah, and we actually had to talk about it afterwards. Apparently, he also, at some point in his, I forget what he was doing, but he also couldn't move for like a certain period of time when he was filming something, and he was like, yeah, I've been there. Like, it feels very, like, emotions hit you that you don't even think will hit you. And I was like, okay, this is reassuring you said that, because I was like, am I insane?
Yeah.
But it's okay. It happens to everyone.
Only
apparently.
a little.
No. But yeah, that was funny.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh my God.
You kind of were just like letting yourself atrophy on the bed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see that tomorrow.
Yeah.
We get to see.
Yes, it looks great,
Yeah,
laying
it was
on the
worth
bed.
it.
Oh, worth it. Very worth it. We'll do it again.
We will note that scene. Note the scene. What would you say is, and now you can really redact, and you can go back before these 2 features you've been in, you can go back to anything. What's the worst direction you've ever been given? We're not going to shade Soderbergh.
Oh my gosh, no.
No, it wasn't from anything I worked on recently. Oh, worst direction. I think it's when a director was like, yeah, can you just give that like more sassy or something like that? And I was like, what do you mean though? She's like, give me more sass, and I'm like, I don't know. It was.
Can I give you more sass?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But like,
you can't use that.
yeah, it just came to me like, obviously when you say give more sass, like I get it, but in that specific context, it was like it was quite like a emotional grounding, and he wanted it to be a very different type of direction.
So sass wasn't really the right word, and you're like, this is pulling me away from where I feel like I need to go.
A little bit. That just came to my head. I probably could think of worse things than give me more sass.
I mean, I've literally told people poetry. I'm like, using these most metaphorical things that have just the stare is just like, can you please give me something I could use?
No,
like,
and I think it was, it was something that was a little bit, like, a more sexual kind of scene.
Oh.
So the way he kind of, like, said it just made me feel uncomfortable.
Oh.
Right.
So, I'm sorry.
I need better notes here. And thank you for intimacy
I'll say
coordinators.
that much.
Yeah. And that happens, and we learn.
Yeah,
and hopefully that person learns.
I hope that person learns.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable.
Well, what is our other? Well, okay, here's a good question. If so one of our other segments is, we call it What the Fuck, and so people ask a question, but for this event, obviously we don't have that. So what's a piece of advice that you would give to someone who's like really keen to get into film, either as an actor or just any other facet of filmmaking? I mean, this is going to sound so cliche, but just keep going. Like, that's honestly what I would say.
even now today, like I'm still struggling too, you know, to keep going. It's a very hard industry.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of downtime. I would say just keep going. Find something that can fill your downtime and just literally don't give up. I remember when I first got my agent, I didn't book anything for 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. When I was like, you know, 17, and it was very hard. So I mean, now here I am.
Good for you for sticking
you
with
just have
it.
to keep
You
motivated.
just gotta stick to it and keep going, and like what's meant to be will be. That's my motto with everything. What's meant to be will be.
You're such a treat. I'm so thrilled that you came and sat with us. And
Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing those stories. And oh my, congratulations! Like that's welcome to the festival circuit. Look at you, you're like right in it now, like diving deep.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you again, and you can head to, if you want us to plug your socials, or we don't need to.
I'm on Instagram.
Yeah.
Callina.Liang, if you want to. I'm not a big social media.
Never mind that.
But
leave Callina alone.
It's okay. You can find me on there. I just post, you know, kind of lame things here and there. But
I think that's what people love to see, though, is like, oh, this person dives into these incredible stories, but also is like a human being.
Yeah, a human being, right? And it's like, I find it hard. It's like everything you gotta post gotta look perfect, but it's like half the time I don't have any nice things to post.
Right.
Just my 2 cats, that's it. Yeah.
What are their names?
Cookie and Brownie.
That's so
I guess I
cute.
like desserts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much again for this. This was awesome.
Yes, I'm excited for tonight.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
is this your first time at Toronto Film Festival, or have you been before?
This is my first time in Toronto.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
A lot of firsts.
Toronto.
Welcome. We
Yeah,
are both
thank you.
Torontonians.
Oh, yes.
So, yes.
Oh, yes.
Well, we love Canadians. It's like you guys are like the sweeter Americans. Well, so I was born in California, but I was raised in Santiago, Chile. So like American culture is like, it's not new to me because, you know, I have siblings that live here and like my family that lived in the United States for like 25 years. But it's kind of newish for me to live in the United States.
Right.
And I always, for me, Canadians are like the sweeter Americans, like the kinder.
We
Yeah.
say hi. We
Come
say
to
hi
the
on the
bus.
street. We were talking about this. We
Oh.
actually say hi to people when we walk on the street, which not a lot of Torontonians do, but
Dude, I was walking here and I saw, and this girl just looked at me and she literally like shouted like, "Hey, nice outfit!" And I was like, that would never fucking happen in New York.
no.
You would get like a nasty look, and it's like, I think she likes your outfit. You know what I mean? That's a way New York. Like,
And then in
so-
LA, it's just everyone's on their phone and
Yeah.
side eyeing, and
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
I was like, okay,
Oh.
great. It's a great time to be alive.
It's like, hey, sometimes you don't even know what to say, that when you get caught off guard like that, you're like, hey,
Yeah, I was like, thank you, and I shed a little tear. You know?
Let's remember this
Toronto.
moment.
Yes.
Selfie, please.
Yes.
Well, welcome to the festival. Welcome to Toronto. Do you have, so you're obviously speaking in the Project Blackbird panel,
Yeah.
which you did at Sundance as well.
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah, maybe do you want
Wow.
to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Well, you know, well, that was also my first experience at the Sundance Film Festival. I had been in Sundance before, but at like the Summer Labs.
Okay.
So I knew the vibe. It's, you know, Sundance is like a super chill, cool
Yes.
vibe.
Yeah.
And like amazing films always are presenting there. And I was presenting my a short film that I was in. And yeah, it was just like very, very cool, and I enjoyed myself with Project Blackbird, and I don't know, it was like super cold, but at the same time it was very, very warm, like a very warm experience,
yeah.
you know. And I love Sundance, and I also love TIFF, and I just love like I think these are very like special film festivals.
Yeah.
you know?
Yes, very like about community.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
It's like the chill side of filmmaking. You
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
And I want to ask you about like your work in short films, and like for me that's something that I always keep returning to. I can't even envision like stepping away from that. What's your experience around short films, and is that something that you want to keep maintain like doing?
Well, I think that like, I don't know, I usually think, you know, I'm super transparent.
Mhm.
Like I'm not gonna lie or
Yeah.
pretend and it's otherwise. I think short films, it's an interesting thing because they kind of, you don't necessarily gravitate towards them, they gravitate towards you.
Right.
You
Yes.
know, like, you know what, I can work, I need to work, so
Yeah.
and I remember, the particular short film that I presented at Sundance, it's called Bust. And I remember the director, I had a relationship with him before, like as a friend, we met, and, I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
His name is Angel Field. He's going to do great things. I'm like sure of it.
Yeah.
We
I
think
love
that
it.
about you too.
Oh, thank you so much. But like, of course, like as an actor, you always want to be like, I want to be in like movies, or even now, like I want to be in a really cool TV show or like TV series or anything. But I think, short films are kind of like the bread and butter,
Yep.
Yes.
and like really exciting things are happening. And I think short films are, they're like a way of like experiencing storytelling in movies particularly that it's a lot more diverse and broad.
Yeah.
You can do a short film that's kind of like a music video. You can do a short film about like very like niche and like just topics that you can't make it like a long feature about.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
You can play, like, there's a little bit more room to play and really experiment.
Yeah. You can make like a story about the relationship someone has with a plant. You know what I mean? And make a whole poetry, like a poetic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Justine and I were like, yes.
Oh,
right now.
my goodness.
Go.
Listen.
Beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit steering in a different direction, but I'm curious, with your upbringing in Chile,
Mm-hmm.
have you shot down there?
Oh yeah, I had a full-on like career when I was there. Yeah. I was, it was a tough decision to move out of Chile because I had a lot of things going on there, but I just didn't feel like fulfilled, within myself.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I was like super conscious of. I was just like, there's something, I need to do something, like I need to move. And so I auditioned for Juilliard, which is like this like really prestigious performing arts school in New York City, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a go. I have the American citizenship, so it would be easy to move to the States, and I got accepted weirdly because like I really didn't expect it. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna shoot to the moon and see what the hell, right? And it happened, and I was like. Accepted and enrolled, and I was like, and I had a scholarship, and I was like, hello, I'm moving to New York, I guess.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it was the right decision.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you find there's a difference?
Even though it's a huge sacrifice, I will say.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, and I was going to ask, do you find that there's a difference between how things are done down there versus your experience in the States so far?
You know what? It's like yes and no. I think that there's a lot of there was certainly an expectation for me to be like, oh my God, in North America, everything is going to be a lot more like, or it's going to be well organized. And in a way, it is. I think that in particularly in the United States, because I haven't had the chance to work in Canada before. I think people, right?
Yeah.
I think people have what I love about the industry in the United States is that people really understand what their job is and what the limit of it is. So you allow others to do their thing, and
right,
and the engine works great because everybody's doing their thing and they know how to do it. You know.
Yeah.
And I think like in Chile, those limits aren't that.
Right.
You know. So as an actress, I was doing a lot more than
Right.
I was, I was like,
You're the
hey,
PA.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, in the United States, I was like, hey, like, I was like, literally like, hanging my clothes, like, 'cause that's how you do it in Chile. I was like, oh no, that's the job of the costume design or the costume assistant.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, so it was like I had to let go, and I was like, no, you just have to act,
Right.
Right. But at the same time, I think that in Chile, the good thing about it is that there's a sense of community that is more like, you know, people are like a little less. Sometimes I think the work ethic in the United States can be a little bit like on the colder side, you
Right.
know.
Right.
It's a little like people don't hang out as much.
Right.
and
Okay.
I miss that a little
Aw.
bit. Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, you had your career in Chile. You
Mhm.
went to Juilliard.
Mhm.
You've been working in film really steadily. You went to Sundance. You're at TIFF. What is your next big goal point? Like, what is your next big thing for yourself? What do you dream? Where are you reaching next?
Well, I just finished shooting 2 movies actually. I did one that was shot in Uruguay and in Santiago as well.
Okay.
It was a Uruguayan and Chilean production. And then after that, I was a lead in a movie that was shot in Spain and then
my
in
goodness.
the
Okay.
Patagonia in Argentina, and it was like an Argentina and Spanish
Woo!
production. Yeah, and I'm really excited about those 2 projects. I actually have Dan Byrne. He's an
Okay.
actor here.
Yeah.
We worked together in the movie that I shot in Uruguay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's at the
Oh!
festival now?
Yeah, I'm gonna see him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Actually,
Oh my
hi Dan.
Yeah.
And you know, like, it's funny because you know we had a strike in the United States and like a couple of strikes and 3 strikes, and
Yeah.
so work is a little slower
Yeah.
than usual. But I'm really fortunate that I got to do these 2 movies.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about like what's gonna, you know, the film editing takes its time.
Yeah,
Post-production
yeah.
takes time, and
Yeah.
I hope there's gonna be some festivals out there. So, you know, you have to, it's a waiting game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
But
Totally.
yeah.
Planting the seeds
Oh
for
yes.
greatness coming
Oh,
up.
yeah.
And
Yes.
so it sounds like you might have some magical moments that you had on set from some of those experiences.
Oh, definitely magical and, you know,
And less than
pedestrian.
magical.
I don't know how to say, like ordinary.
Right, yeah.
Less than magical is a better way to put it, right?
Yeah, do you have an example? Either end. Do you have an example of something that like kind of stood out to you?
I know we're putting you on the spot here.
I know.
Like, tell us all.
No,
your-
because I remember, like, I was thinking about this. I'm like, sometimes I like to keep the privacy of people because I wouldn't want, you know.
Oh yes, no,
Yeah.
we don't reveal any
No, no.
names,
Yeah.
what set, no, nothing like that. But it could be like in the last 10 years, 20 years, or however long.
Yeah.
An experience that you might have had that was either like it started out as amazing or it started out as like that was a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I think that on the last project I did, there was a huge lesson I learned about like not taking things personally, you know, like it's a huge thing. I
Yeah.
know there's many examples about it, but I remember there was this one day on set where there was like a lot of tension. And I was a lead in this movie, so I was like, oh my God, and you're an actor, so
Yeah.
you're more susceptible to taking things personally.
Right.
And I was like, let's do this, like, let's just try it out of being like, hey, it's not about me, you know? Because I literally didn't do anything wrong. I was
Yeah.
just there,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I was just like, hey, I'll just listen to it, what is being told to me word by word, instead of like assuming things.
Right.
Or thinking that people are speaking like,
Right. You're
You
reading
know,
between the lines. You're
yeah.
trying to fill in the gaps and stuff with what you
yeah,
are projecting, I guess, in a way.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I think in some contexts, particularly sometimes, Latin American culture, particularly Chilean culture, sometimes can be quite like passive aggressive, so sometimes you're used to like reading between the lines, and I was like, I'm not gonna do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And then when you don't engage in that, it's really like you learn how to keep yourself safe,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
and then you like if they come for you, you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like where are the receipts? I didn't react to anything.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here cool, you know what I mean? So that's a really good tool that I learned.
It's a great,
Yeah.
especially as the lead too. It's like you kind of want to set a tone, an example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, yes.
And I guess that kind of leads us into, like, if you have a piece of advice for anyone who's starting out or who's like maybe questioning whether or not they want to proceed or they're having a really hard time, do you have Hey, any advice for the filmies out there? Actors, filmies, on either side of the camera.
Yeah, I think that you need I would suggest, and sometimes they can be like boring because like film sets are super fun to be in. You know, there's so many people. It's exciting. Like everybody's excited to be doing a movie. So I'm like, but sometimes it's important, especially as an actor, to just take your time and like, you know, go walk around, be silent, like focus on what you're doing, and like, you know, as actors, I think that we tend to be very generous with our energy, you know, and sometimes just keep that energy to yourself and like give yourself space and time and like, yeah, don't let yourself just be pulled in every direction, you know, just
like
keep your
that.
center.
Yeah.
I've learned that, you know, and like, yeah.
That's really beautiful advice. So that you really can get pulled in every direction.
God, and it's like, and because you feel there's this weird thing that actors, which I think it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but I think it can be, you know, it can be taken advantage of like, you're supposed to be grateful for everything you do. And I was like, yeah, but I'm also just working here.
Yeah.
And my face is on camera, so if
Yeah.
I'm stressed and if my energy's gone, it's going to show on the camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Do you have anything that you want us to ask you that you're like hoping to talk about, or?
I don't know. Like, I'm super. I'm just like very excited and thankful to be here. Yeah. And like, I don't know if like you guys have something to share with me about like advice, because I'm always like wanting to,
You know what? I'm not going to
steal from
share
people.
advice. I don't know if
Okay.
Justine, you have something, but I'm going to tell you something.
Tell me.
So at Sundance, I was at a different venue at Sundance
Okay.
because I had an after party for Project Blackbird.
Yes.
So I was there, but I didn't get to watch the panel.
Okay.
But everyone came after the panel and they were like, Lux is so mesmerizing. And I'm sitting here, Lux, I'm sorry, I'm fangirling. Like, I'm like, you are truly
Oh my
so
God.
mesmerizing. I just can't wait for the world to see more of you because you really have the thing.
Thank you. You're so stunning too. Really, I feel
And
like
you shared it
so
with
welcome.
us today. Oh, thank you.
No, you guys are like, yeah. I feel, you know, I tend to be a little nervous sometimes, and I don't feel an ounce of nervousness here. I'm just excited.
good.
Yeah, you guys are so cool. Really.
Oh, well, we think you're the coolest, and we're so grateful that you came and sat with us.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
All
and this has
right.
been Lux Pascal. Thank you again for
Thank
chatting
you.
with us.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
All
Okay,
right.
well, we are here with Hallea Jones. Hallea, thank you for coming to sit with us.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
All right. So, tell us about your TIFF plans this year. What brings you into the TIFF world this time around?
Just because it's here.
Yes.
Yes, you're a local
Here,
Torontonian.
I'm a local Torontonian. I've been going to TIFF for a few years now. Each year has been very vastly different. I remember like a few years making my way into Vanity Fair when I had no reason to be there. You know, like those kinds of things.
Yeah.
This year I don't know if I'm that bold anymore. Vanity Fair, call me. But otherwise, I just, you know, last night I went to the Young Filmmakers Party, which is just a staple every single year.
Yeah.
I get to see a lot of friends, meet a lot of people in the industry who are, you know, doing so much that, I mean, on the world stage we don't see as often. So it's nice to reconnect and be like, wow, we're making waves.
Well, and that's what I think John Davidson and Katisha Shah, who put that on, like, I think that's what they want, is like they want that feeling of like, we can all make things.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And Kat and John are like so important to me. I've known them for years. They knew me before Lock and Key, and they have always been really supportive of everyone around them. They don't really care what you've done. They care about what you're doing.
Right.
And they care that you care about what you're doing and what other people are doing, and seeing that you're part of a community and connection. And I just feel like surrounding myself with people like that is integral to my own successes. So to be
stay grounded, supported.
Yeah. So to be at these TIFF parties, especially like being at a panel like this, is just so cool. It feels so cool right now.
Oh my goodness.
Is an honor because it's really putting Toronto more on the worldwide stage and just kind of like pushing forward in the great film industry that we have that so often gets kind of like brushed under the carpet.
Yeah.
TIFF is amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, well, we're grateful you're here. And honestly, one of the reasons, I think I messaged this to you, but when I asked if you'd come to the Project Blackbird panel, I knew that you had been very vocal about like sort of your experience, partially with social media. And after, I think, one of your roles, things changed. So the social media journey, but also just you're so vocal about your community, what you're doing, how you're staying grounded. Like you're a painter, you do all these beautiful things. You stay in nature. Like you're like, girl, I'm gonna get out
I'd
of
go crazy if I didn't have the craziness in my life. I'll be honest. It seems so counterintuitive, but it's true. Yes.
Yeah.
It's important to stay going because in this industry, so much can happen in so little time, and so little can happen in so much time. And it's, wow, that was so poetic.
Write that one down. Write that down.
Write that down. But it's true. Like, you know, I talk to so many people who are, I think the worst question to ask anyone at a TIFF party, especially something like the young filmmakers, is like, oh, so what are you working on? Because
are you valid to me?
I'm like, and it's really like, it's kind of, it's hard because, you know, I've found my successes with Lock and Key in the past, and then I had a hard few years. I will never lie about that. I'm very open about that because I think that's the most real and raw experience in this industry that's not talked about. Like, I wasn't booking left, right, and center after Lock and Key, even though I totally thought I was going to be, and I was so naive at that point. But that's the real life of an actor. And so I learned in that time that I can't wait on things happening for me. I have to make them happen, whether they're creative, whether they're community. It doesn't matter. So when it comes to like painting, for example, that keeps me so grounded, keeps me sane. It buys my groceries. Like, like we all gotta do what we gotta do.
Goodness.
And I got to stare at dogs all day.
Yeah.
Or pets. I mean, gerbils,
Oh my
horses,
goodness.
birds.
You paid a cow too, right?
Like,
Didn't you pay a cow?
Like, let me know. Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
The cow too, yes, I'm working on that. But also music. Like, music's been a huge thing for me.
That's right.
Performing live. I perform at a big jam in at the supermarket called the Big Fam Jam most Tuesdays. I was a house band singer there for a while, and then I stepped away to focus on more acting and whatnot. But it's a special place filled with community of people who have no idea about the acting industry, and they're like, we don't know what you're doing there, but you're here, so that's all that matters to us.
That's
my
fun.
goodness.
And they keep me going. So, I think when it comes to mental health in this industry, it's so easy. And I've been sucked into this of like getting so down on yourself because you're not booking all the time. Because we go out all the time.
Yeah.
Like so many that I can't even count, never to be heard from. And it's just, you have to accept that and know that a lot of the times it's not you. It can be completely out of your control. But what is in your control is the way that you mitigate your stress and your anxiety and your self-worth in that time by doing other things that do bring you joy.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why my life is chaos all the time.
It's beautiful chaos. I wouldn't even call it chaos. I feel like it's flowy.
Thank you.
Well, at least
It's
from
like
the,
abstract
from
art.
the outside.
Well, it just sounds like no matter what, you want to tell a story, you want to express yourself, and you're going to find whatever avenue, whatever medium will get you there, will get you feeling that creativity, that excitement, that drive to just put something out into the universe. Like let out the feeling.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Otherwise, I'll just be moss in bed for days on end and do nothing but be down on myself. And no one needs that. I don't need that. The world in my future doesn't need that. So, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Do you have anything that you like is a vision for you that you'd like to see in the future, or like anything that you are? Because I know you dabble a little bit with the creative side of filmmaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a big thing that I've always wanted to do is make a music film. And that's something that I have been in the works with for a while now. And it's like a tug of war between my two selves, right? It's the music side and the film side.
Right.
Actually, the three sides and the acting side, because the filmmaker in me and the musician in me and the actor in me are all kind of at odds of like, what do we want to see from each side?
Right.
So it's like this always, and then there's the side's that the perfectionist. She just needs to shut up.
Say no more.
Sit down and shut up. Like, but She doesn't. She yaps and yaps and yaps and yaps and yaps and doesn't stop.
And then you're like, wait, but this project.
I think that's probably going to be a project that comes way later in my life, and I've accepted that. I think that, you know, I'm going to hold on to the dream and the idea it will get there eventually. But I don't think that I have experienced the things that I need to experience in order to be able to make it to the capacity that I want to make it in.
I love that, like just connecting with your internal reality, like acceptance there.
I have a lot of life to live still, and that's why I'm trying to remember to be kind to myself, because in this industry it's like, oh my god, I'm 27, like the world's ending. But no, it's not, because there's always the roles that are at so many different ages. You know, this industry is probably the best industry to be at any age, you know, going into it. Or sticking around. You don't have to be 22 and on top of the charts, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of accepting that what's meant for me will find me, and I will meet it to the expertise level of where I am, and challenge myself to rise to what it wants me to find in myself. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
and
I love this.
It's all in the ether of
the plan
go
is
into
there.
the unknown without fear. I remember someone saying that to me a decade ago,
Ooh.
and it stuck with me, because it could be really, really lovely. And if it's hard, we'll deal with it as it comes.
Yeah.
I'd also love to play a badass.
Oh yes, yes. You're like, bring it on.
Dress it like a badass. Like, I don't know if I would want to do like superhero, because I don't know how much I would want to do on like green screen work.
Okay.
I'm seeing Catwoman right now. I don't know if it's the outfit, but I'm just gonna say something like a Catwoman. maybe.
After Anne Hathaway, I don't know. I don't know if we can follow that up.
Fair. Tough shoes.
Yeah. But I mean, keep drinking.
Hey. We're putting it out there. So we're curious if you have, what is the worst or best direction you've ever been given?
Oh.
Either side of the scale. We're giving you both options.
I mean, that's actually a really hard one, because now in my brain I've never experienced being directed or directing anyone.
Oh no!
My brain just went.
What is direction?
I don't know. I honestly, I'll be honest, I can't answer that one right now, because I see, okay, this might be controversial, but I see direction as suggestion a lot of the time. As long as like the vision is there and it's very clearly communicated. I think sometimes direction can be, as a director, I've experienced that sometimes I'll ask for something, it happens, and I'm like, not right. That's not right.
Yeah, it didn't work.
But they try. It's a suggestion. Let's try the suggestion, and alter it to find, because doing that led me to understand that's not what needs to happen. So how can I learn from that, and what did I like from that? What did I not like from that? What do I want to see? So I feel like the best worst, it's kind of all just finding your way through that and seeing how that can benefit the overall performance in the long run. So I don't see it as a black and white thing. It's kind of a journey.
That's really beautiful, though. That's such a great mindset to carry.
I was like, I don't know what to say, so here's some bullshit.
But see, the fact that you've been on both sides of the camera and there is a process of elimination. Yeah. There is an amount of play and experimentation that gets you to the result or gets you further away from the result. And then you're like, okay. Yeah. But you are accountable, you own those things, and you keep moving on, and you go and you pivot and you work with them and you make sure that you're learning from that and you're growing, and I think that's incredibly healthy. Yeah, incredibly.
So
okay.
I feel like our event's gonna start, so we're
gonna
hear the start putting music on. Yeah,
that's the cue.
We'll wrap this up with one more question. Okay. Do you have with your experience, because I know you've done a couple TV shows, or even beyond those, any films or anything you've been in, a magical moment where everything came together, or one of those days where it was like, how is this happening? Either or.
I had a really magical moment. It was November 27th of 2020, I think. Yeah, around that time. And I remember it so vividly because it was the day that we filmed episode 5 of season 2 of Lock and Key, where we go, spoilers, we go into Eden's head. And it's like a mall, and you see all of these videos of like Eden, literally like with this hair. I feel like Eden today, like just modeling and all this stuff. And on that day, I worked on all of the modeling stuff. Like they put me in a bunch of different gowns, a bunch of different dresses, and I got to dress up as Eden. But it was so special because I started modeling when I was 12.
Yeah. Oh.
And like I've done a lot of modeling over the years, and I just remember sitting there, and there were like these big lights and obviously like massive cameras and a whole crew of people. I'm wearing this beautiful red shiny gown, and there's you know, my makeup artist, my hair, you know, everyone's just working on me. And I just remember sitting there being like, little Hallea would be gobsmacked right now. And it was just one of those moments I'll never forget, because I was like, this is what it takes, and this is how long it can take. But perseverance gets you there eventually. You know, this whole industry is a war of attrition. You just have to keep dreaming it and keep going for it, and eventually and also be willing to be present and in the moment as things are happening, to be able and willing to be present to the gifts that are right in front of your face. You know?
Right, because sometimes we're too afraid of the gifts.
Yeah.
Hallea, thank you so much for coming and sitting with us. You are such a gem to talk with and listen to and learn from. And
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Happy TIFF.
Happy TIFF.
happy TIFF. I'm sure we'll see you in the mix.
Let's go sneak into Vanity Fair.
Oh, and
Let's do it.
if you want to plug your socials real quick, it's Hallea.Jones or Hallea.
I got just at Hallea Jones. I also I have at Hallea, but I haven't used it yet. But how cool is that? I don't know what to do with it yet. Oh my goodness. I have ideas.
Ooh, run a poll.
Yes. But just at Hallea Jones, HALLEA JONES.
Amazing. Thanks again, Hallea.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the panel.
Thanks for listening to our special. Shout out to McCam Insurance for sponsoring this episode. Not only do they offer entertainment insurance, but they also do auto and home. Head to mccaminsurance.com to learn more. That's MCCAM insurance.com.
Thanks so much for listening to the WTAF We Talk About Film podcast by indie filmmakers for indie filmmakers. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us on Apple or Spotify. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube at Yas Media Pod, and Yas is spelled Jas as in Justine and Sarah. You can also follow us on Instagram at WTAF Pod and on Facebook at Yas Media Pod. We'd love for you to subscribe to our newsletter at yasmedia.ca so you're always in the know.
We'd love to hear from you, so if you feel like submitting to any of our segments, whether it's worst direction I've ever given or gotten, WTAF SOS, What the Fact, Magical Movie Moments, Hot Lunch Horror Stories, or Prompts from a Hat, we would love to hear from you. Send us an email at yasmediapodcast@gmail.com or DM us at WTAFpod. Please send us some stuff. We want to hear from you. We love you.
Yas!
JAS Media.